Now this I'm going to put through the extruder. That's going to do the fancy bit. So I'm just reducing this down to the size of the extruder barrel. Just going to to be just a little bit smaller. So when you reduce, you just sort of give it a stretch, twist. You can also stroke it a little bit. Now your ends are going to get a bit squished and mushy and funny, but you cut those off and keep them, because never waste your clay. There's a load of techniques just for scrap clay. I never have enough scrap, so you end up making scrap just so that you can there, so that one should fit. Next thing you want to do is just cut off these slightly squished ends. Okay. So there's your, because I haven't reduced it much, there's not much distortion there.
Gift bags. Sorry, no.
So a good way to see if you've gone far enough is get your cane and compare it to the amount of thread. I'll just cut this down because I'm only going to do a small bit for now. Okay. So that will now fit inside the barrel. So this is a little, what's it called? An adapter. So what it is a tiny little pin which you put in your barrel first. What happens is the clay comes out around there, and then you put this die, which will be the shape, whoops, the shape of your sausage that comes out, and it basically, it makes macaroni for you. So it'll be a long string with a hole through the middle, which makes this pin. But what we're going to show you is that these 4 holes change the pattern of the clay, so it makes it into a little flower pattern. So this is a nice thing to do with canes maybe that you don't like the design. It gives it a different look. Extruding's a little bit hard work. The other thing I find helps a lot with extruding is if you give it a few twists and then you give it a rest for the pressure to come out, because otherwise it's really hard work. So you see that those 4 little petals, after you've extruded a bit, they'll join up and you'll get this nice square.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, Helen's upstairs.
Oh, right. Helen was wanting to.
You have to go around the back and up there. Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Right, so that's probably enough just to show you. So then, cut this off. Remember there's a pin sticking out your middle. So just be a bit gentle and cut around the pin. There we go. Now, I usually have a scrap, an old blade for sort of scrap cutting, and then I've got a new sharp blade which I use to cut my cane slices. I'll just do this to show you. In there, there's your pattern. So there, it's made your jelly roll spiral into a sort of a chrysanthemum pattern. So here's my nice sharp blade. Now, when you are making your, put these aside. I'm going to make a surface decorated sheet. The important thing is to try and have consistent sized slices. Now, it's also nice to have thin slices because then you maximize the amount of cane. But if you can't do thin, try and get them even. So I'm just going to cut a few canes. And the other thing I do, especially with the square cane, is after each cut I roll it. This just helps keep the shape, because if you keep cutting in the same direction it can distort the shape a bit. It's also a good idea to let your cane rest a little bit so that it's a bit stiffer when you cut it. That one's a bit thin maybe. So I'm just getting another piece of white clay here. I'm going to give my pasta machine a little wipe. Just because there's red clay has just been through here, and that one tends to colour everything else. Now, if you've got slices of cane with white in them, it's always a good idea to lay them on white, because sometimes a very thin slice can be slightly transparent and your colour can shine through the white. So I just use this needle tool. You gently pick up your slices. Just carry on laying slices. Now, this is why it's a good idea to try and have even slices so that your surface is as even as possible. But I'm going to show you something that can help even out your surface texture once you've laid all your slices on. So here's another one I've made earlier. It's of different colours, obviously. So see there's little bumps between the tiles there. This is a piece of cotton rich paper. It's called layout paper, I think, or you can use baking parchment. So you lay that on top, and this is just a piece of card. It's fairly stiff card. And you give that a nice rub, and what that does is it merges all the gaps, it flattens the different levels. You do need to keep lifting your paper, otherwise it'll stick itself to the surface there. The card is just to even the pressure, because if you used your fingers then you'd end up with valleys caused by your fingers. Sometimes you might want to stand up and do this so you can get good pressure on there. I'm just going to squash these with my fingers a bit just to even up the big gaps. Okay.